It's the headline in every newspaper. It's the lead story on every show. It is the Zimmerman-Martin racist trial. Today, a KO in the house with Tom. We're talking about it.
Let's get it started. Let's get it started in here. Let's get it started. Let's get it started in here.
Let's get it started in here.
Welcome to The View from a Pew, a conversation among Christians who are out to grow their faith by asking the simple questions, the tough questions, and the stuff you really wish your pastor would talk about. Come on now, let's reason together. It's your voice we want to hear. The phone lines are open, so join the conversation. Call 855-244-0077. That's 855-244-0077. Now, here's your host, J. Michael McCoy.
All right, welcome. It is the 16th day of July in the Lord's year 2013. I'm J. Michael McCoy, and this is The View from a Pew, Tuesday edition. That means Tom Coates is in the house, and I've got one of my favorite people in the whole world in with me here, and that's Akeo Samad. And the reason you're one of my favorite people, and you know this, but I'm really telling this for the audience, when the Charles Lovelady thing came down and we were thrust into the middle of that, you gave me peace. You let me know that everything was going to be all right and we were going to handle this as adults and above board, and it wasn't going to get crazy and my family wasn't going to get threatened or anything like that. And I have always loved you for that, because you have such a influence in our community, both black and white, in our community. And I will always thank you for that. You are a man of your word.
Thank you, Mac. And believe me, it's the same. Vice versa. I feel the same way, but I'm really honored here today because I'm sitting next to Tom.
Yeah, right. Well, anyway, yeah.
So I'm really honored here today because
you didn't know there was going to be a real star here.
Yeah, I didn't know we had a star that was going to be here today, and so I'm honored. In fact, I'm ready to interview him.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
You should have seen the reaction Mac and I got at the B&B the other day.
Yeah.
Mac picked me up on Saturday, so we got to go to lunch now at the B&B, a deli I hadn't been to.
Yes.
And we got the red carpet treatment,
We
didn't we,
did.
down there, Mac?
We did. Have you ever been in there?
Oh, John is a good friend of mine.
I love that guy.
I call him just like I call you. You're, my brother from another mother.
Yeah. Those are great people down there. And I'm not trying to plug B&B, but it's my show, so I can do what I want. But if you want a genuine experience of a small town, deli / meat counter, go in there and get one of their sandwiches. And when I was in the restaurant business, I always said people come out for the ambiance, the quality of the food, but they also come out for the experience. And that is one place you'll have a heck of an experience getting a $6 sandwich. You didn't even finish your double cheeseburger.
I couldn't finish that whole thing. He gave me a big, I already ate some meat ahead of time.
Yeah.
And they brought me out this giant, it was great. All the things that they served us are great down there. And that was quite an experience. Those are an interesting group of guys down there.
Yeah, it's a part of the fabric of the Des Moines community. And if you've never checked it out, it's Southeast 6th and Hartford.
Yep.
And you tell them Mac sent you, and they'll charge you double. All right, now you've got a rally for the Martin family tonight at the state capitol.
There's a rally. Individuals have put together a rally.
Okay.
To support the Martin family. But as you read on my Facebook, it has to go further than that. It has to be a support for the family. It has to be support for each other, for us as a community, on what we can do to cause and make changes.
Yeah, I agree with you. Here's what I want to try to figure out today. I don't understand. I understand racism, but I don't understand how it gets to be at the core of some things that happen in our society. I don't understand why if a non-black person, can I say that? Is that okay?
It's your show.
Well, but what's correct though?
Well, I don't know. Tell me where you're going with it first.
If a non-black person kills a black person, everything goes to heck in a handbasket. Jesse Jackson, Al Sharpton, the media, everybody goes crazy. But if a black man were to kill a non-black man, it doesn't even make headlines. There's a story going around on the news now where 4 either preteen or early teen black youth in Chicago murdered a 14-month-old baby, shot her in the head. That happened last weekend, and yet we don't see it anywhere. And I don't understand that. I don't understand why, as a society, we think it's so sexy when a non-black person is killed. I'm sorry, a black person is killed by a non-black person.
Mac, first of all, we're dealing with apples and oranges.
Okay.
You know, and I think we have to declare, draw a clear line of demarcation between when we're talking about, as people have labeled it, black on black crime, and then when we're talking actually about an individual being profiled, and racism.
Okay.
Racism goes back. It has a roots in this country that goes way back from, Dr. King lost his life. John F. Kennedy fought for it. Lyndon B. Johnson fought for it. Rosa Parks, Harriet Tubman. Individuals fought to make sure that America became a level playing field for everyone, that all men and women were created equal. We know through history that that's not true. It's not true. All we have to do is look at our history. What we're looking at here, and let's use the Martin case. There's 2 things that are in play here. One is that we don't know what went on in Zimmerman's life before he ran across Martin. Some people say he got in an argument, he was mad, whatever. We can't get into that. But what we can get into is that there was a rash of breaking and entering. The individuals were profiled that they were young African Americans that were doing it. George Zimmerman came up upon Trayvon Martin. He identified him and profiled him as possibly one of those individuals. Then he was told, when he called in, not to get out of his truck. If he had understood and obeyed what was told him by authorities, we would not probably be here talking about this situation today.
Right, but he didn't break any law.
No, that's not the issue.
Okay.
The issue is that what he did was disobey the command. He disobeyed. He is an individual that was in a neighborhood watch. The thing that makes a neighborhood watch effective is discipline, and to be able to follow the rules and whatever the training was of a neighborhood watch. Now, he felt it necessary to get out of that truck or his car and follow this man after he was told not to, because it was going to be handled by authorities. Now, the key here is that he was identified, as they say, he was stereotyped. That man did not know if Trayvon was part of this group or anything. All they seen was what? Well, he was identified. What were the stereotype? A young black male that could possibly have been involved in a rash of breaking and entering. He didn't know. So when he got out, he identified him as a young black male, which brings the race card into it. Then if he was white, if he was a police official, he would identify him as a young Caucasian male. No, but did you just say if he was a police official? He wasn't.
Well,
and see, that's what I'm saying. We got to start having some real conversations. If we're going to deal with racism, then we have to have those real conversations. We got to quit doing if it happened that way. If those you made the example, those individuals that killed that baby in Chicago broke the law. They were criminals. They had no business. It's not if they went to school, if they had a father in the home, if they did that. No, the point is they broke the law. They broke the law. They had the guns. Now we can deal with the causes, and the root of why it ended up that way. But let's deal with the reality first and have those type of conversations. Because again, if we keep getting into the ifs, if Zimmerman had to turn around and drove his truck away, if Trayvon had to turn around and took his hoodie down and said, "Look it, I can shuffle," those are the ifs. But the reality is, because of the stereotype that we have in this country, and we do have it, especially with young black males, racism will not be dealt with until we, as a community, I don't care what ethnicity you are, start having some real conversation. Until we start talking about white privilege, until we start talking about black on black crime, until we start talking about the incarceration rate, until we start talking about the justice system for what it really is, we will always be having these type of radio programs.
Somebody told me, K.O. Samad is my guest. Tom Coates is here, Father Tattoo producing. I'm J. Michael McCoy. What was I just going to say? Somebody told you. Yeah. What did they tell me? I'm sorry. I just had
senior moment there.
I'm getting old. Yeah, senior moment. Somebody's told me before many times that the justice system is set up to punish black males more than it's set up to punish a white male of the same age.
When we look at the disparity of African Americans that are incarcerated, we have to go back and look at why. Now, reality, this isn't mine. I mean, I didn't set it up. The thing is, if you get caught with powder cocaine, you can get caught with 3 or 4 kilos of powder cocaine. You can run the risk of getting probation.
Okay.
You, as an African American young male, get caught with 3 rocks of crack cocaine. You can end up doing, not only long penitentiary time, but also be tied into doing 85% of that time.
All right. So
there's a disparity. So, and I said, if we're going to talk about real conversations, there's also a deeper disparity. You have not only where African Americans, again, we're going with stereotype. You stereotype African Americans. You look at in this country, there's over almost 845,000 African Americans that are locked up, males that are locked up in penitentiary. And I want to clarify a myth. That doesn't mean there's more African American males in jail than the college. That's not true. You got 1.5 million that's actually in college, but you have that 800 compared to any other ethnic group. There's a huge disparity, with African American males being locked up. The other thing is when we look at that disparity again, we're also looking at that when crack cocaine was an issue. Yes, we developed mental health centers. There was, all recovery centers and everything else. But the money wasn't put in to crack cocaine and recovery like it was put in when meth came on.
So are you saying that crack cocaine is used more by a black male and powder cocaine or meth is used more by a white?
Exactly.
Okay.
I mean, that's where it is.
All right, and so then
But meth carries the strictest penalties of any drug.
We don't have headphones on.
Well, you can repeat that,
I'm
Joe.
sorry.
Father Tattoo says that meth has the strictest consequences than any other drug.
No, it doesn't. Not when you turn around and when you look at the individuals that have been incarcerated for meth and the individuals incarcerated for crack cocaine, you have more African Americans that are incarcerated. What with meth, they go into recovery sooner. They get the recovery more than the African American. The African American gets penitentiary. Those on meth get recovery. Yeah.
And you believe that's on purpose by our lawmakers to send more blacks to prison than whites?
No, I don't think that they intentionally set it up that way. I think because we've never dealt with racism, we've never dealt with the issues, it comes out that way because most individuals who are Caucasian will tell you, I'm not racist, I'm not prejudiced. They will even tell you that, we don't have white privilege. But we know still in this state of Iowa, with this rich history, and I promote the history of this state because we did some first before anybody else did. Before Brown versus the Board of Education, we integrated our schools. All of that was first. The African American soldiers were trained here, but there's still places that African Americans are not welcome. And I don't want to take any city. I try not to talk about any city.
All right, well, let's pick that up when we come back. We've got a hard break here. I forgot to tell you, when I do this, it means we got a break.
All right.
Tom Coates is here. Don't be quiet over there in the corner, Tommy.
I'm just waiting for an opportunity to.
All right, I need your input. Our special guest is Akeo. We'll be back live here on 99.3 KTIA, powered by webcast1live.com.
Leach, owner and general manager of Service Legends. I brought along a couple of the home comfort heroes.
Hi, I'm Tammy Wells.
I am Nick Wondershide.
I'm administrative manager
I am the senior technician
from Service Legends.
It seems like every good thing, when you feel it to the bone that it's good, there's a lot of hard work put behind it. I don't think that you can fake it and have it turn out good.
You know, if we seem like, okay, that's just weird, it's just a furnace, why would you believe so deeply in a furnace? It's not just that, you know, we want to show the world that you can have good service.
Yeah, I mean, it's got to be, it's your home.
You know, it's built into our daily trainings, it's built into our culture, that we're gonna do whatever it takes to have each client say they love us, period.
That's why we spend all the hours in the training that we do. And if we guarantee it's gonna be a good experience for you, or else it's free, what type of work do you think we're gonna do?
There is a guarantee.
Temperature selection guarantee, fixed right or it's free guarantee, comfort guarantee, best value guarantee. All of these guarantees hold us accountable to ensuring that we exceed your expectations. And if for whatever reason we'd fail and we can't make it right, we guarantee all of those guarantees with a 100% money back guarantee.
I mean, if you don't think that your technician can fix it right, are you gonna say that to a client? No.
You don't have to worry about having a technician come to your house.
We drug test, background check all of our team members. We put safe people in your home. Each and every one of our service techs, 400 hours a year in training.
You tell it the minute they walk in the door. They know what they're doing, they've done their homework, and they actually truly care about what you want.
Because at the end of the day, you're the person that makes sure I have a job.
They're gonna be listening. They're gonna wanna know what your challenges are. Then they're gonna come and give you options, and you get to choose.
If I'm there to help and I make it easy and painless, I did my job right that day.
Well, when it comes to your comfort, safety, and your family, you know, you don't necessarily go buy the most expensive, but you get the most bang for your buck.
Oh, it's worth it, because there's a lot of people that will find a way to get it to work right now and then leave and then come back, charge you again, and the cycle just repeats itself. So when I'm out there looking at the furnace, I want to find why it failed today. How can we change the part today with something that you're not going to have to worry about? Is it worth changing the part today? I mean, you can put a lot of money into a furnace. I can fix parts all day. There's good job security in that for me, but is it the right thing for you?
I get a lot of the phone calls of after the technicians are there. They're just in awe. They're like, wow, you guys are great. I mean, I don't even know what to say. You guys are great. Everything you did was perfect. It was great.
Keep going though, I like this.
Just give us a try. I'm gonna take all the risk.
I've got the time to make this right. I've got the support to make it right.
Just check us out.
And if you don't see the value in what we do,
I mean, fixed right or it's free or 100% money back.
enough said.
We've got questions. You've got the answer. Join the conversation. It's your voice we want to hear. So call 855-244-0077. Now, here's J. Michael McCoy.
All right, good afternoon. We're back, 16th day of July in the Lord's year 2013. I appreciate you being here. Tom Coates in the house, as he usually is on a Tuesday. And our special guest today is, of course, Akeo Samad. He is a state legislator. Oh, you've been a state legislator for 3 terms?
Yeah, going on my 4th term now.
Yeah, you're up for re-election this year, I think.
Up for re-election.
Yep, and founded an organization called Creative Visions in the inner city here, and has done, it's just, I don't know, just amazing work. You've done amazing work with the youth in our community. I don't think people realize it's out of sight, out of mind, so they don't realize the hard work that you do here in your community.
You know, God is good.
Yes, God is good. All right. You were saying, and I had to interrupt you, that there were towns in Iowa.
Yeah, there's still places in Iowa that have a problem where African Americans move to in their neighborhood. You know, we're still learning from each other. We quit talking about race a long time ago. You know, it comes up now as buzzwords, just like, you know, diversity. Diversity has become a buzzword. Mm-hmm. You know, it's not something we really work on anymore. You know, just like the African proverb, or whoever claims it, where it says it takes a village to raise a child. It's become just a phrase that you can throw out now, because we don't talk about the ills of the village. So you can have a healthy village, until you recognize the ills of that village. That's the only time it can function. That's why our race relations, are now in the hands of those that make money on it. Because they can come into a company and they can, have everybody by the end kissing and singing Kumbaya. And then after that, everybody goes home, and within a matter of hours, they're listening to the blonde joke. They're listening to the joke about African Americans or Hispanics, and they're not speaking against it. They're still laughing, and because it's funny, because we really don't deal with systemic change. We deal with cosmetic change.
Now, you locally, Wayne Ford locally, Al Sharpton, Jesse Jackson, is that fair to you if I put you all in a group that when an African American you feel has been done wrong by something, either a crime or society, that you will step up and be a voice of rallying for that individual and that situation? Is that fair to say?
No.
Okay.
First of all, I will step up when an injustice is done to anyone. That's been my history. In Des Moines, it's been my history. In Iowa, it's been my history across the country. I've been to Germany, when, especially during the time that the Bosnians were, being traumatized and genocide. And, and I went there and spoke in Bosnia. I've been to St. Lucia, to help promote, fair elections. I went to Israel and Palestine and spoke with the Israeli government and also the Palestinian government to talk. I stand up because justice has to be for everyone. The problem is that I have, and it's visible, is that people put me in a box, and they say, well, he's just for African Americans. That's the only time you hear him speak up. That's the only time people want to hear. They think that I hear. They're not coming to where I'm at a rally when we're talking about, the vets that have come back from Iraq and have been mistreated. They're not there when I'm talking at a rally and still talking with Vietnam vets and coming back.
When you say they, do you include the media?
Oh, without a doubt, I include the media and everything. But, I don't stereotype the media, because you have good media, you have bad media. We have to take people at face value. Maya Angelou said very clearly that, when a person shows himself, you accept them for who they are. So that way I'm okay. So if someone shows themselves and they have the tendencies of racism or prejudice, I accept them. But the key is that means that that's my job to run to them and not from them. I don't ignore them, because that mindset needs to be challenged.
Tom?
I appreciate that response, and I'm glad he differentiated his role as he saw it from perhaps Jesse Jackson or some of the others that appear to want to profit in some fashion by these kind of situations when they crop up. Now, I've never met K.O. I've had the pleasure of getting to know him just a few minutes ago, and appreciate the way you speak, and you've got I think, a pretty good reputation amongst the community. Now, are you a House representative or a senator?
A House.
Okay, I referred to you as senator. You're a House member, and good luck on your continued service. And I think in your case, and I think in most of the other cases, it is a matter of public service what you do. So, having said that, I wanted to ask a couple of points. One is that I heard a statistic the other day, Akeo, that said that 92% of the murders committed on the African American community are black on black crime. Now, this particular one was perpetrated, if you believe it was a murder, and obviously the jury down in Florida did not believe it was a murder, didn't even believe it was a manslaughter area, and we can talk about some of that. But if it was a murder, it was perpetrated by a Hispanic against a black. How is that significantly different than the murders that are committed almost on a daily basis in some of the cities in this country, like Philadelphia, Chicago, LA, you take your pick? How is that significantly different for you?
First of all, let me address your first comment. I wanted to be clear that we do disagree that Reverend Jackson and them just may do something for profit. I don't see them that way.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. But you do agree that
that
he and some of the others have profited significantly on some of these?
No, I don't know what they're profited. I just know that, on several issues that needed to be addressed, individuals come to address them. And a lot of times that we look at it, and let me rephrase. Let me say this, and then we'll leave that point because we may not agree.
Maybe move past the profiting of the Rainbow Coalition, and let's get into some of the more topical issues.
Yeah, let's do that. But I do want to say this, that a long time ago, and God rest his soul, Phil Donahue, Reverend Jackson was on Phil Donahue's show, and a question came up about him making money. Mm-hmm. And one of the things he did, and Phil quoted a certain amount that he was making, and Reverend Jackson said, "Would you repeat that again?" And it's a thing that he came and he repeated it, and then he said, "Why did you want me to repeat it?" Because he said, "I want African Americans to know that I am successful, because we have to be able to set that example to be successful." And when we talk about individuals making money, and that we'll come and do another show with that, because I really like to.
Well, that would be good. I'd enjoy that. And I didn't mean
yeah.
to get you off track, because I think that the issue of the Trayvon and the differentiation on why this is significantly different since a Hispanic killed a black youth versus the multiples of black-on-black murders that are perpetrated daily in this country.
First of all, we can take statistics, because you mentioned 92%.
92% is what I heard.
We can take statistics, and the way, especially when it comes to black-on-black crime, that's manipulated. Depends on how you want to do that. Just like when individuals come out and say there's more African Americans in prison than in college, African American, that is not true. But it depends who's doing the study.
But do you dispute that the significant amount of the murders that are perpetrated on the black population in this country are by other blacks?
Oh, I would dispute that.
Oh, you would?
Yeah, I would dispute that without a doubt. Now, do you have the south side of Chicago or Chicago itself that just this over the 4th of July weekend had between 42 and 70 murders? Yeah, I would say that. But we also have to look at how many murders were. We focus on the black and black crime. And I say that because there's a documentary called Hoodwinked, and you should see it.
Okay.
And Hoodwinked points out about the statistics.
Hoodwinked.
Yeah.
HOODWINKED.
Exactly.
Okay.
And Hoodwinked, it is how statistics hoodwink us, into, the different statistics so individuals can make money on it, or we can use it as a boogeyman itself. Now, the thing is, I don't look at when I first heard about the shooting, the first thing I looked at is the circumstances behind it. Mm-hmm. Now, the issue isn't, to me, that he was an Hispanic male. The issue was that he was a neighborhood watch individual that was supposed to have training, that clearly stereotyped a young man because he was African American. Because of and it was because of what he was told. It's not, I don't think he woke up that morning saying, I'm going to shoot a black. I think to the point in this country, when we're conditioned a certain way, then we look at it. It's just like, to the point is, when you're driving down the street, and it's happened to me, and I'm standing in a corner, I can be on the corner of 13th and University, or 13th and Forest, and Tom, I'm standing there, and I may have a group of my employees standing there, and we're there, and you will see actually a Caucasian drive up, look over, see us standing there, and start locking their doors. Now you have automatic locks, you don't see it as much, but you actually see them, or you see them look, and they look at you like, and they'll turn their head and look down.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, because
I can see that.
Because this is the stereotype. This is what we're conditioned, and we have to get and break the conditioning.
And I understand that is your concern. I guess my question again was, why draw this much national attention? I mean, we had the President of the United States say if I had a son, he would look like Trayvon. We had issues, he can't at times comment on issues that are in his control, and yet under the Gates thing, he had a friend that was a Professor Gates that had a run-in with the police. He said the police acted stupidly, and of course then he had to have the beer convention out back between the officer and Gates. But there are times where we heard once, Akeo, that if Barack Obama were elected president, we would go into a post-racial era in this country. And it seems to me, from my vantage point, and yours is much different, it seems to me that we have gone into a more hypersensitized and more racially divided country now than before Barack Obama was elected. Now, again, that may be my perception, and it may be incorrect from your perspective, but I think that this Trayvon Martin thing was created by the media and by this administration and now especially with all the scandals that are brewing, to take and divert our attention away from it. We are still hanging on the possibility of a federal investigation, despite the verdict by the jurors last week. We are still hanging on the possibility that Holder might institute a federal investigation when there appears to be very little to hinge that on.
Now, you've got 50 seconds, so you can either answer that now or we can take a break and you can answer it later.
Well,
you can answer both.
No, let me answer later, because there's several points there that I want to address. So
okay.
If I can answer that. Maybe Tom and I can take a break and we can talk about credit cards for me.
Okay. That's a good idea. By the way, I just want to bring up, you've got a brand new organization called From Pain to Power, and it's from pain, 2power.com. And it looks like it's also on Facebook. So have people check that out and check out the website.
It's on Facebook, the website. We set up a Twitter site, and it's something that individuals should check out. Maybe we can talk about that before.
Yeah, we'll talk about that when we come back. Akeo is my guest. Tom's in the house. Father Tattoo running the ship. I'm Mac. Thanks for listening live on KTIA, powered by webcast1live.com.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
If you choose to obey the power of sin, it leads to death. If you choose to obey obedience, it leads to righteousness.
Forgiveness is just the beginning of life in Christ. God wants us to live for Him now.
And because of Jesus Christ, the gospel was preached, and you and I are blessed today because of Abraham. Did you know that? We're blessed.
Experience Truth, 99.3 FM.
Drug and alcohol addiction slowly steals a person's identity, tearing away pieces of their life little by little until one day it seems like the hope of a happy future is gone and there's no chance of getting it back. Here at St. Gregory Retreat Centers, we can assure you that there is hope. Our unique approach to recovery begins with the understanding that the dysfunction and damage caused by addiction can be overcome, not just dealt with. Don't let another day go by. Call St. Gregory today.
Whether you're 10, 25, 50, 80 years old and beyond, everyone needs to live within their means. I'm Tom Coates with Consumer Credit of America. For almost a quarter of a century, we've helped people of all ages learn to manage their personal finances to benefit them far into the future. When problems arise, we've got the experience you need to make those debt problems go away. Got financial problems? Call Consumer Credit of America.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live. We're the ones in the pew, not pulpit. Come on now, let's reason together. The phone lines are open, so call 855-244-0077. Now, here's J. Michael McCoy.
Before the top Salem Radio Network news, and then Pastor Michael Mudloff from Westkirk Presbyterian Church with True Blue, and that's coming up here at 4 o'clock on 99.3 KTIA. Tom Coates in the house, along with Father Tattoo. My special guest is K.O. Samad, who we're talking about racism. I'm looking for answers on how to understand, how to identify racism. If I do anything that would be considered feeding or firing, fanning the flames of racism, and just trying to get one more thing we understand. Just getting down that road so someplace we eventually get in the middle and it doesn't matter anymore. Or will we ever get there? Have we created a system in the United States of America with free speech that you're always going to have those, I want to call them rednecks, and I don't mean to be derogatory, but those people who simply will not see a person for what their worldview is rather than the color of their skin. I mean, I know there was a great man that said that back in like 63. Martin Luther King said that, and I can't believe we still haven't gotten to that point, but we obviously have not. And so that's the conversation today. Okay, you were going to answer Tom's question, but what would you say the question was?
About the supposedly moving into an era where racial tensions and pressures were lessened under Barack Obama, and I think that they've been heightened. And the other one I think I made in regards to the specifics of the Trayvon Martin thing. What do you want to answer first?
Yeah.
Well, first let's address the heightened issue. One of the things, Tom, that I thought was really unique was that two perspectives came out of President Obama being elected. One was that things have changed for African Americans because now there's an African American president. The other thing
is that a reality or perception?
Now that's a total perception.
Okay.
Yeah, not a reality at all.
Okay. I didn't see much reality, but maybe it's a perception.
No, it's a perception, not a reality. The other thing view that came out of that was that racism reared its ugly head when that came out. And it came out because, Mac, of what you were saying, that we don't have answers. We refuse to deal with racism. And my point here is that I was on my way to speak in Davenport, and this white truck, 18-wheeler, was ahead of us. And what attracted me to the truck was the fact that it was all white and had this blue lettering and it was just a gorgeous truck. And I said, wow, that's a gorgeous truck. We got closer. On the back of the truck, Tom, the back of the truck where the opening was, you had an individual who was Caucasian urinating on Barack Obama. When we got on the side of the truck, it said that we gained our freedom in 1776 and we lost it in 2008. President Obama had nothing to do with that. What happened is that we have in this country, we have individuals that because of conditioning, because we don't talk about race, because we don't identify and deal with the issue, that what happened is individuals were so upset it reared its ugly head. It's just like when you have a president who is African American and you say, I'd rather work with a tar baby than with the president, that's racism.
Who said that?
One of the senators said that.
One of the U.S. senators
Yes,
did that? Really?
Exactly. And it was publicized and everything else.
didn't see that.
Yeah. Or you're sitting there, and I think it was one of the Chief Justice that sat there, and during the State of the Union address, I think it was, when he called the president a liar and called him right, it was open. We see racism, and racism just began to pop up.
The last comment you made it would be perhaps more of a... That last comment would not seem to me to be racial. When he called the president a liar, that does. I mean, I've been called a liar. You've probably been called a liar. We have lied at times, but
speak for yourself.
The issue, criticisms of Barack Obama, which I have made many of. I'm conservative. I wouldn't have supported Hillary anymore, and I supported Barack Obama. But it seems like now the criticism since Barack Obama has gotten here, any criticism, you just said yourself, somebody called him a liar. I remember that. And I think they were speaking to some deception that he was involved in. But now every criticism seems to be labeled as racist. That's why I think the resentment on parts of our society generate an attitude that they identify him with his policies, and then because other people cling to say, well, any criticism of his racist, well, now, if I'm going to criticize him, I've got to be labeled as a racist. And some of that is resented on our parts, and I think because of the intermixing of his race and his policies, which I very much resent, everything from Obamacare, on down to the. We could go on. We could go a long laundry list. I don't like his policies, and if I've got to be critical of him and at the same time be a racist, well, I guess I have to be a racist because I'm not going to be muted. I'm still going to be critical of his policies. You understand what I'm saying?
I do, and Tom, that's really unfortunate if you let people put you in that box where they have gone. Because the simple fact is, there's a difference between criticism, constructive criticism, as you know. When they actually look back, when the chief or the justice said you're a liar and did openly why the speech was being, it was the media that went back and did the research. That had never been done before. And so you're looking at respect. If I respect you as a man and I respect your position and the position I'm in, then you have to look at what is the root that I feel comfortable to be able to call you a liar when that has never been done in the history before. The other thing is, no one is questioning criticism, but what we're saying is that we have to be able, again, to distinguish between what is criticism and what is racism. And we can't lump it in the same one. Just like to the point
but wouldn't you say my point about him being... He was called a liar. That isn't a racist comment, is it?
No, I think to the point is, it wasn't a racial comment, but was the root from racism. And that's that's what I'm saying here, is that we don't go to the root of the problem and we stay on the surface. We cosmetically stay there instead of dealing with history.
So you're saying
let me finish my point, Tom.
Okay, but you're saying the fact...
No, you said okay and then kept talking.
Okay.
No, you can't do that. Okay, now. Okay, so now we look at it, to the point that you made a statement that his focus on Trayvon Martin and, and the Gates, you made that when you said, and his focus should be on other things.
Because other things he doesn't have responsibility for.
Let me finish.
Okay.
Now. All right. Now, you also got to look at, before the Trayvon Martin incident, before the Gates incident, he also focused in and commented seriously on two different wars that he inherited. He also commented and addressed now whether you agree with the method that he used, that's a difference. But the point is, to say he didn't address or he's not addressing those issues, I think is very unfair, because he did address the economy. He got beat up for his methods for the economy, whether you agree with him or not. But to say he's not, I think is unfair.
Well, let me give you an example of something that he should have had control over, and I think did have control, wouldn't admit it, was Benghazi. Was Benghazi. He says, well, that the buck never got here, but he can comment on a case with Gates. He can comment that Trayvon looked like a son he might have had, inserting himself in issues that he had no involvement with, and injecting race into issues that the President of the United States in an unprecedented fashion, talked about those two issues. What do you think about that?
I think to the point is that he addressed, you're talking about apples and oranges, he addressed Benghazi with all the components that's involved there, through a whole system of different, incidents that happened, what promoted Benghazi and everything else. Now, to me, if we're going to talk about that time, then we really need to talk about, our international, our foreign affairs. So anyway, it's time to take a break.
All right, we're going to come back. We're going to have just about 8 minutes left in the last segment. Time goes way too fast, but we will continue with a great interview today, a great conversation with a really neat guy named Akeo Samad. Tom Coates is here along with Father Tattoo. I'm J. Michael McCoy. Thanks for listening to 99.3 KTIA, powered by webcast1live.com.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
If you choose to obey the power of sin, it leads to death. If you choose to obey obedience, it leads to righteousness.
Forgiveness is just the beginning of life in Christ. God wants us to live for Him now.
And because of Jesus Christ, the gospel was preached, and you and I are blessed today because of Abraham. Did you know that? We're blessed.
Experience Truth, 99.3 FM.
Drug and alcohol addiction slowly steals a person's identity, tearing away pieces of their life little by little until one day it seems like the hope of a happy future is gone and there's no chance of getting it back. Here at St. Gregory Retreat Centers, we can assure you that there is hope. Our unique approach to recovery begins with the understanding that the dysfunction and damage caused by addiction can be overcome, not just dealt with. Don't let another day go by. Call St. Gregory today.
Whether you're 10, 25, 50, 80 years old and beyond, everyone needs to live within their means. I'm Tom Coates with Consumer Credit of America. For almost a quarter of a century, we've helped people of all ages learn to manage their personal finances to benefit them far into the future. When problems arise, we've got the experience you need to make those debt problems go away. Got financial problems? Call Consumer Credit of America.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
We've got questions. You've got the answer. Join the conversation. It's your voice we want to hear. So call 855-244-0077. Now, here's J. Michael McCoy.
Okay, we're back. 10 before the top. Frank, appreciate you wanting to call in today. I love you, brother, but we've got too much to talk about. In fact, we're not even going to begin to scrape the ceiling on this today. I want you to talk to me a little bit about From Pain to Power. But first of all, I need an easy answer from you.
Okay.
Because I really am confused by this. And just call me stupid. It's okay. Why can a black man call another black man the N-word, but if I do it, it's racist? I don't understand that. Help my itty-bitty little brain figure that out.
One of the things, and first of all, I don't agree with calling anyone the N-word. Let me be clear.
Okay.
Let me make that
I think
statement.
That's all you need to say.
No, I think that's a good premise. But then to answer the question, why
let me
is it
answer.
From a generally a cultural standpoint, one is accepted and defended and the other is not?
One of the things that has happened in the black community with the subculture is that the N-word has been turned into an enduring term.
Right.
When it comes to, African Americans. Like I said, I don't agree with that, but it's happened. The other thing is that usually when an individual that is Caucasian uses the N-word, it's not endearing. It's used in a very negative and to be very offensive. The other thing is, we have to, again, have some real conversation. I've been around individuals of the Caucasian race and I've been in, bars and everything else. And I've heard them, use the, well, I don't know if people know this, I say the PW word, but, I heard them call them, that,
What's
to the
the
peckerwood.
Peckerwood?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, or cracker.
You know that term, don't you?
No, I've never heard that. I've heard cracker, but I've never heard.
Yeah.
I'm sure you've been called that before.
but anyway, I've heard whites call each other cracker in an endearing way. That's offensive. Now, the thing is, if I walk into a bar and I turn around and look at a Caucasian and I call him a cracker, I'm subject to get whipped.
But see, I wouldn't be offended by that.
But that's the point. You wouldn't. But we're not just talking about you. We're talking about society and the way it is. But the focus is why? Because individuals, one, in society make money, during workshops about the N-word and everything else. Other people, use it for whatever gain, and it's a focus on
rap music might be a good example on that. Rap, the use of rap music has ingrained it into the culture because of perhaps much of the rap music lyrics. Wouldn't you agree?
I disagree because the N-word was ingrained in culture before rap music.
But okay, but
it's just
the
such
word
an ugly
has
word.
been, but the connotation that you're talking about has been further ingrained by the cultural music and what have you. To take it not just as an insult, but amongst black to black as a term, as you say, of endearment, where it wouldn't have been maybe a generation ago.
But even to the point that the question was, why is it okay for blacks to call that and not a white calling that, and why would it be offensive? And the reason why is just what you just said again, and I said, that term, and actually the way it's said, has been used as, that's my brother, that's my partner, that's, that type of thing, where it's negative from somebody else using it. Just like the example,
understand that, and I appreciate that. I agree.
And just like the term cracker is used, endearing in certain circles around Caucasians, but if I say it, then it's offensive. And I can be called to the carpet.
The defense attorney asked the young woman that was on the witness stand, "Do you find this, the word that Trayvon used on Zimmerman, do you find this a racial?" No, she was asked again. She repeated, "No, I don't find him using the cracker term as racist." And I think she was being honest. I think she was an awfully poor witness, but I think she was being honest. What would you think about that?
I think everyone has a right to their opinion from the reference point. When you're in my business and you've been a community activist and civil rights and human rights activist for a number of years, you see the gambit. You see to the point that cracker is offensive. You see the N-word as being offensive. Anytime that we take the name out, we take a name and we use it to be offensive, it's there. When an individual uses that term, a lot of times when on someone else it's used out of anger, or it's used out of fear. But the point is, it's not used. The thing is, we have to educate individuals, on term, what is offensive, what isn't offensive. What's offensive to the point of, like, I don't want an individual coming up and calling me boy, but that was used to be condescending.
Do you know where that term cracker derived from?
I did at one point, because it was actually, go ahead, you can tell me, but it was actually
I've heard, I don't know if this is accurate, but it goes back to the cracking of the whip in the slave days.
Mm-hmm.
Is that right?
No, I've heard that, but I also heard it came because
that's accurate, but I've heard
it. But I also, and it probably is, there's probably, originated, but I also heard it came from, I'm trying to think, it came from the poor white community because of the houses. They called them cracker houses that they actually lived in. All right. But a lot of things, just like the term picnic, you look at Smithsonian Institute and they give you a definition of what picnic means, which derives back from slavery. Those are the real conversations we have to have, because they said picnic comes from it's derived from pick, the N-word,
Well, and if you don't know the origin,
Yogi Bear was just so wrong.
Yeah, if you don't,
so wrong.
I guess if we don't know the origin of these terms, I guess it has no real.
All right, we've only got about a minute left. Tell me about FromPainToPower.com.
From Pain to Power, I lost my son in 1997, and the night I lost my son, I went home And after I finally was able to get home and working with the young people there and making sure nothing happened, Mac, I went home and I left my door open and I sat in the middle of my floor and I just wanted somebody to come by to honk the horn, to take me out of the house. And no one came by. I went back over to work at 7 o'clock in the morning and began doing what I was doing. As I travel around nationally and internationally, I always ran into somebody that said, I just wanted somebody to talk to. I just needed to relate my story. I feel this. And then my mother passed, in January. And again, people on Facebook and everything, mine did. I didn't have anyone to talk to. So I created this website. It's a discussion website to where there's several discussion topics that you can get on and actually discuss. Now, we don't want you coming in and talking about what you ate or your girlfriend or boyfriend cheated on you, unless it's about what can I do because I've been hurt. And that's what this is. All right. How do you turn pain into power?
It's www.frompain and then the number 2 power.com. Give you a piece of advice if I can. Go out and find out if the word TO is also available in that URL.
It's not available.
Oh, okay. All right, good. So check it out. It's from pain, the number 2 power.com and find out one of the things that KO's doing. All right, KO, thank you for being here.
Thank you.
You got to come back soon. Tommy, love you, brother. See you at Father Tattoo. And all I ask for you at home is tonight, when you lay down, if you just remember the people you love and pray for them. We'll see you tomorrow.